Josh Shapiro says that Kamala Harris's team, the vetting team, asked him if he was a double agent for Israel while he was under consideration to be Harris's running mate. In a new book from the Pennsylvania governor, he writes that he responded by saying the question was offensive. He says someone from then Vice President's team told him, quote, "Well, we have to ask." Incidentally, CNN this afternoon reported that Governor Tim Walz, as he was being vetted and became Vice President Harris's running mate, was asked if he was a Chinese agent because of several trips to China. To devour all this, I want to bring in our political panel. John McCarthy, Democratic strategist and former senior advisor in the Biden White House. Lance Trover, Republican strategist, was press secretary for Doug Burgum's presidential campaign. So let me start with you. It is said by those within the Harris campaign, these are hard questions. You must ask hard questions in the vetting process. By their very nature, they are going to be intrusive and they are going to be possibly bothersome. Does this cross the line in your estimation, John?
Well, I mean, to that point, that's kind of what a vetting process is supposed to be about. It's also supposed to test you and ask questions that kind of get under your skin. Anyone who's ever sat through one of these would tell you it is an invasive and uncomfortable process. You know, as a Catholic, I would say that this makes confession seem pleasant. And, you know, you see similar questions being asked of Governor Walz, right? But I will say, when this question was posed to Governor Shapiro, whoever asked it was kind of a knucklehead. You know, this is something at a time when anti-Semitism is on the rise. Words really do matter. But, you know, I sat down the hall from the vice president's office. I spent time on the campaign trail with her and Doug, the second gentleman, and this is not reflective of who they are.
Is it reflective of a spat between Shapiro and Harris that Shapiro now wants to take to the next level, even as they both look at a 2028 campaign?
Anything that is ever going to be said amongst two candidates who are vying for the same office is always going to be blown up to be something larger than it is. I wouldn't read too much into this one.
Lance?
I mean, it's anti-Semitic for sure. I mean, there's no question about that. And I mean, I find it. I mean, look, I get vetting processes are tough, but I mean, do we really think he was a double agent for Israel? And look, I think this speaks to the larger problem within the Democratic Party and the issues they have. We see they elected Mamdani, but I will add this, my friend.
What do you when you say the larger problems? What are you talking
with
about?
Anti-Semitism, their anti-Israel approach? I mean, this is where they are trending more and more in the Democratic Party. I think it's a real problem for them. Look at Mamdani. I mean, look, that's their approach to Israel is they're becoming the party of anti-Israel. There's no question about it. But I will say this, in the same vein. My friend Richard Goldberg, who's kind of an expert in the anti-Semitic world, I thought he had a really interesting post on X today where he said, to Republican operatives, take note that the Harris anti-Semitism helped destroy the Harris campaign. And it was his note to Republicans as well, where we've had on the fringes of our party anti-Semitism.
In the last 4 or 5 months, there's this roiling conversation about what is or isn't anti-Semitism within conservative Trumpian ranks.
And so that's what I would say. Both parties should take note of this. But yes, personally, I can see why he was offended by it.
Lance, I want to ask a threshold question on this since you raised it. The Democratic Party, anti-Israel. Is questioning the Israeli government actions by its very nature anti-Semitic?
Not questioning not questioning its actions.
If you question what they do in the West Bank.
But if you question somebody, a governor of a state and ask him if he's a double agent for Israel, I mean, good Lord.
No,
that reeks of
But
anti-Semitism.
on its surface, questioning maybe settlement activity in the West Bank or something that goes on in Gaza is not by itself anti-Semitic.
No, not questioning. I mean, look, it's fine to question people's actions, but I think we've seen from this party, and particularly the likes of Mamdani, who pals around with folks like Students for Justice in Palestine and some of these pro-Hamas groups. I mean, that's what we're seeing out of the Democratic Party.
John, respond to that.
The Democratic Party needs to untangle some of these things for themselves. I would say that the right and the left have both struggled with major flanks of their party who have been, peddling an anti-Semitic, rumors and conspiracy theories. So it's something that both parties need to get serious about. And I think it's to anyone who's actually listening, they can easily untangle these two things and be against the atrocities that we're seeing out of the Netanyahu government, and of course, still standing up for the rights and protections of Jewish people.
Because he loves it so, Elon Musk will be talked about again. He does love it so. Strokes a $10 million check to a super PAC supporting a Republican in Kentucky. An enormous amount. Sloshing around in Kentucky.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money anywhere. It's a heck of a lot of money for ad buys in Kentucky. How do you interpret that, Lance?
I was surprised he was jumping into a Republican primary, but I know Nate Morris is supported by a lot of folks close in Donald Trump Jr. and others in the Trump administration, so I guess I wasn't completely surprised.
But this would be, to your mind, reflective of realignment?
Yeah, it is reflective of realignment. This is kind of a barn burner of a race. It's obviously for the Mitch McConnell seat, which has been held by the leader for 40-some years. Yeah, I was a tad surprised by it. If you ask the Barr people, Andy Barr, who's also in the race, they would say, well, Nate Morse has already spent $6 million and he hasn't done anything, so he needs the $10 million. So this is going to be an explosive.
John, is Elon Musk going to be a part of the Democratic conversation in the midterms?
Well, I mean, I think he's going to be, because he's going to keep spending money like this. How could he not? But I mean, what he seems to be really good at is getting headlines and attention. It doesn't necessarily translate into votes. I mean, I remember this past cycle, there was that wacky thing where he was giving away $1 million checks on stage. And as a Democrat, I mean, I welcome that contrast.
And the Wisconsin
and it didn't even go his way after all of that.
And as a Republican operative, I welcome the money that's coming.
Yeah, tagline of the Republican Party right there in the era of Trump.
Yeah. Julia Letlow, who is a congresswoman from Louisiana, not announced against Bill Cassidy. There'd been a long-running, quiet effort on Bill Cassidy's part to get and secure Trump's endorsement. He didn't get it. The president has now put both feet for a candidate who hasn't even announced and basically abandoning an incumbent Republican senator in Louisiana.
I followed Julia Letlow from afar for many years. Obviously, she didn't come into this. She never wanted to be a member of Congress. Her husband died of COVID, and she found herself a member of Congress. She's been a hardworking member. She's kind of focused on issues like education and helping small businesses and the like. I think she's made a lot of friends on Capitol Hill, from what I understand. And guess what? She didn't vote to convict Donald Trump of impeachment, and so there you go.
Bill Cassidy did, and
bad weekend
bad weekend. Anything is true about President Trump. He doesn't forget.
Indeed.
Episodes like that. Lance Trover, John McCarthy, always a pleasure. And you got the memo on the tie.
No tie today.
Well done.